Who is that on the radio?
Who is that on the radio?
Who is that on the radio?
You really want to know who's on the radio? Come on. Let's talk about it.
Jeffrey. Let's talk about it live with Jeffrey L. Miller. Watching is the best decision you'll ever make. Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. Call or text in live 470-251-4647. Hashtag Let's Talk with Jeffrey. And come check us out on www.statusnetwork.net or download the Status Network app on your Apple or Google Play Store.
Let's give them something to talk about.
It's almost showtime, people. Let's tune in to see what Jeffrey has in store for us tonight. And here's your host, Jeffrey L. Miller.
What's going on, Facebook family? What's going on, Instagram family? It's time for Let's Talk About It Live with Jeffrey L. Miller. Every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m., this is exactly how we do it. Now, listen, we're on the Status Network right now with Manifest TV, and we are kicking it. Today is going to be off the chain. Now, first of all, I'd like to welcome in studio with me, Saya. Welcome.
I'm very happy to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. And on the phone, we have GiGi Graham. GiGi, you there with us?
I am here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now, let's do this. Let's do some quick introductions. GiGi, we know we don't have you for very long, so please introduce yourself and tell everybody about you and what you like to do. How about that?
Okay, my name is Gina, actually, and I go by GiGi Graham. And I am the founder of a plant-based vegan organization called Black Vegan Social, and we are a community of Black vegans that encourage a plant-based diet, community, and we encourage connecting as a Black community.
Good deal, good deal. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Saya.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Saya, tell us about you and what you got going on. Talk to us.
Okay, my name is Saya Savvy. I'm actually the creator of a docu-series called The Art of Loving. So The Art of Loving is a series that's addressing relationship issues, techniques where we can love each other better, and a book is to follow at some point. And I'm also doing different sessions with people, just so that personal sessions, so that they can kind of learn how to get through their own issues.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, now listen, I want everybody to understand something. We're about to get into it. It's going to be hot. We got GiGi on the line with us, and she's going to talk that plant-based knowledge. She's going to drop it on you. We have Saya next to us, and she's going to share some information about relationships. It's a wonderful day in the A, but you know what time it is. It's time for you to close your mouth and listen. You ask me some questions. I give you some answers from a man's point of view. Now, listen, I got one reason for the habitually single man and one reason for the habitually single woman as to why you might be single. But before we get to that, here is my disclaimer. Now, what I'm going to talk about might not apply to you. If it doesn't apply to you, I don't want you to put your foot up in this shoe. But if it does apply to you, I want you to put both feet in both shoes and walk around in them, because you're going to learn something tonight. Ladies, you are first. All right, now, ladies, some of you might be single because you are in love with your pain. I need you to understand. You're in love with your pain, and you having sex with your fears. Now, when I say you're in love with your pain, you would rather dwell on what that man did to you 6 years ago and use that as an excuse not to get in a serious relationship anymore. Or because you're having sex with your fears, you would rather dwell on what could go wrong than embrace the possibilities of what could go right. Now, by doing that, what you are strategically doing is blocking your blessing. You get that brother that's willing to invest in you, learn about you, and learn more about your spirit as opposed to your body. But you shut him out. I need you to feel me on this now. Blocking your blessings with your fears is happening too much for too many women. So what I need you to do, ladies, I need you to drop that shield. Stop being afraid and deal with the pain. Once you let it go, watch the right man be right there at your door. Failure to do that, well, that's going to leave your ass sick. GiGi, what do you think?
Yes.
Tell me what you think.
Okay. First of all, I don't believe that you can block your blessings.
Okay.
Ding ding.
You only getting one
I
bell
feel like
ring now.
the universe has nothing against anybody. So if you're dealing with whatever you experienced in your past, a lot of times in relationships or during the getting to know you process, I don't believe men are as invested into the women being. A woman may have experienced something, and a lot of times when we come together or connect, the man, his first thing was, whatever happened to you is not my problem. But if you're here and you want to be a part, baby, it is your problem. So I think a part of, maybe the women do need to do what you say, but also the men need to have a higher level of accountability and responsibility when it comes to those that they are interested in. And we're not talking about like childish playing, those that are childish playing those games, trying to get what they want. We're talking about people who are actually interested in, the same perspective as the woman. Yeah, I think a guy should, be open to realizing the woman is a blessing, number one. And then number two, being open to whatever her prior experiences were. They're his experiences as well. Got to take the good with the bad.
Good with the bad. Fair enough. Thank you so much. Saya, what do you think?
I think we have to be very careful about having conversations that are men do this or women do that, when the reality is, one of the things we have to really focus on just healing ourselves. Okay. The whole concept of loving and the art of loving is first being able to love yourself. And I think as we deal with past pain and we deal with things that trigger us, and they trigger us in relationships, we really kind of brush those things under the couch or under the bed, or we don't want to deal with them, and that comes out in our relationships. So as we address those issues and we make our healing most important, and I think this is for men and women. There's just as many men living in their hurt, living in their damage, living in their past as there are women. And I think we have to just all make a commitment, a collective commitment to heal, men and women. We all have to choose to heal ourselves so that we can come together and help to heal each other and have better relationships.
Well, hey, I got the bell, GiGi. I know how to ring the bell to be a thank you.
She said that.
Well said. All right, fellas, don't think I'm letting you off the hook, fellas. You are next. Now, fellas, some of you are single because you are protecting the little boy inside of you. Now, here's what I mean. When I say you're protecting the little boy inside of you, you simply aren't dealing with your own pain. Now, Saya kind of led right to it. I was going to get there, but you kind of led right to it. Now, men, what you have to realize is that you can't harbor the ill will for that woman that hurt your feelings in kindergarten. You got to let it go. You have to address your own pain. You can't be upset with that woman that broke your heart in high school or college or 15 years ago. You have to face it. You have to let the little boy who got hurt inside your mind grow up and become the man. Now, understand me. You keep protecting that little boy by working out or by being hyper masculine or all these other things that are toxic, instead of letting that little boy heal from that hurt to let you realize your full potential. What's going to happen? That woman's going to discover that you're a nice looking man, but you're still a boy mentally. And she probably already got a son. She's not looking for another one. And she's probably going to leave your ass single. Nobody else gets to ring the bell. Y'all see me moving this bell? I'm moving this bell right over here. It's my bell. Saya, what do you think?
I agree completely.
Go ahead and hold your mic up a little bit higher for me. Thank you.
I agree completely.
Okay.
I think it just, not to beat a dead horse, but the reality is we're all struggling with something. Like there's nobody on this planet who doesn't have some baggage that they need to unpack and they need to work through. And so male, female, it doesn't matter. Like you have to make a commitment to unpack your issues and to work through them so that we can, just all be in much more healthy relationships.
Well said. GiGi, what do you think?
Agree with Saya and you. We have all experienced life, and it has happened to all of us. Mm-hmm. So definitely, going back to what she said earlier, you have to have that a place of healing, self-healing. So yeah, nothing else needs to be added.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well said. Here we go. Gigi, tell me this. How did you get into the vegan lifestyle? What brought you into it?
Very well. I actually was dealing with depression from 2015 up until the end of 2016. And at that point, I kind of began to see life a little bit differently. I realized life happens to everyone, and I can't take it personal. So in that, I began to call upon my ancestors for like guidance, and veganism kind of came to me at that point. I was very new to the concept because prior to that I was a vegetarian, and I did not know that that there was a community of blacks that had embraced the plant-based diet. But all I knew for myself is that for spiritual purposes, I wanted to be more disciplined, and I knew that the more disciplined you are, the more spiritually inclined you are as well. So with that being said, on January 1st, 2017, I became a vegan, and that's how my journey started.
Now, for those that don't know, tell us the difference between a vegan or a plant-based lifestyle and a vegetarian.
Okay, so we can start with a vegetarian. Vegetarians, they don't eat meat, but they do eat other animal byproducts such as dairy and eggs. You have plant-based, which they don't have a ethical mindset or ethical perspective, but they kind of just embrace more plant-based live foods without the meats or dairy or eggs and things like that. And then you have vegetarian or vegans. They are ethical. So not only do they not eat anything that comes from an animal, any byproducts, they're ethical when it comes to their perspective, as they don't even want to use any type of products, anything that may cause harm to an animal. And so that's what I am. I'm on a vegan journey where I'm more ethical with my views, because I recognize that the universe has put us all here to kind of, benefit each other.
Understood. Now, listen, I have this video. I want you to understand, I'm a grill master. So in trying to let go, I've been doing some research. I found this meatless burger. Now, you and I were talking not long ago, and you posted something on one of your pages, and you said this, that time that you eat something that's so good, you have to just double check that it's not real meat.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to watch this video about meatless burgers. And then I want to come back and ask you a few questions regarding this. This is the meatless burger. Here we go. Roll clip. Okay, all right. We'll come back to that video in just a second. Now, basically what's happening is that video basically shows that this burger is more flavorful because of the way they prepare it, and it's actually healthier. So, somebody like me, if I wanted to get into the plant-based lifestyle, me being a grill master, what would you recommend for me as far as the first steps that I need to take to get myself aligned with the vegan lifestyle?
Honestly, I would say, what's the purpose of you wanting to embrace the lifestyle? If it's just to conform and try to find something that's similar, then you're not going to be as successful. Okay. But if you have a foundation of whether or not it's for ethical purposes, when it comes to animals, or even from health purposes, when you're committed to that cause, then you'll be more apt to stay the course and be more disciplined with it. And, the thing about the, the reality is we live in a society where, people want to capitalize on everything. So even with plant-based burgers, like, just because it's meatless doesn't mean it's healthy for you. In our culture, in our society, we always consume extras, always in the abundance. Because of that, they began to do like mass production of meat, and so to produce it so fast because the demand is so high. They began to inject a lot of these animals with hormones, even cloning them. And so you're not just eating meat that tastes good, you're eating hormones, you're eating animals that have been slain. Like when you go to the stores, you just see them packaged. But how did they get there? Some of these animals are literally tortured, and you're eating the spirit, because we all can agree that blood is life, right?
Yes.
You're eating the spirit of these torture animals. So then you think about times where your body just feels afflicted, or depression may kick in, and you're like, where is it coming from? It's the things that we're consuming. And so when I talk about veganism is not just about the abstinence of meat. It's about being connected, like Saya said earlier, with self. Healing thyself is not just from an emotional perspective. Healing thyself, for you to be healed, you can't just target one area: mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You have to work on all of it. And eating a lot of the foods that we do, because they are injected with so many hormones and so many drugs. Like these animals, they inject them with drugs just to kind of keep them alive after they're stuffing them with foods and drugs and different things that are foreign.
Gotcha.
They're not even really eating grass. You have this concept because of school that taught you that they're eating. No, it's not a beautiful picture. It's torturous. And so that's what it's about. So like if you come from not to go on a tangent, if you come from a place of you want to do something different, you want to change the narrative for your life,
right,
then I would say take it day by day, make a commitment to yourself, figure it out, go on YouTube, thank God for Google, and Google this stuff. Figure it out.
Okay, got it.
Or follow Black Vegan Social.
Black Vegan Social. We're going to come back to that in a second. All right, now, we have this video. We're going to play this video on the meatless burger. We'll come back and we discuss it, and we'll discuss it. You got that one ready? Before we get to that, another question for you, GiGi. What was your most difficult part about letting go of the omnivore diet?
I would say eggs was a challenge, but I realized that what I was dealing with, like my depression, I really went to a place that was, as they say, sunken, and I felt hopeless, and mentally it was nothing but there was nothing but desolation. And so for me to come to a place of understanding, a lot of times people equate light to goodness and bright and white to goodness. But in my dark place, I found liberation. In my dark place, I found understanding. And for me, just being able to be more connected to my ancestors, because remember, the narrative that we kind of go off of is the narrative once, like after the transatlantic slave trade, right? We go after that, like the foods that they forced us, that we turn into love.
Right.
Like we love pork and all this stuff, but that was stuff that they fed us because they felt like we weren't their equals. We turn it into love, but through our love, we kill each other. We die from diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure. We're the leaders in all of those things, but we do it in love, right? Our love is killing us. And so when I saw that there was a narrative that I had embraced that was spoken for me, and it was not something that I created, I was hungry to change that narrative. So eggs and dairy didn't bother me. nothing could stop me from wanting to change that narrative, because I knew if I changed that narrative, then I was writing a new story for those that came behind me.
Now that's really, really powerful. Okay, now listen, we have that video back about the meatless burger. We're going to play this. I got a couple of more questions related to your, I'll say, your sexual prowess after you became a vegan. We'll bring that up. Let's play this.
I can talk about that.
You can talk about that all day, I guess, huh? I'm ringing the bell on that one. Let's play this video right here. We'll come back and talk about it. Here we go. All right, all right. Now, Gigi, I'm going to tell you this. That video wasn't supposed to play because the universe wants to know about the increase in your sexual prowess. After you, we're going to blame it on the universe. So let me ask you this question now. When it came to the way that your body responded to your desires and the way that you wanted to express yourself intimately with your mate, how did that change with veganism and the plant-based lifestyle?
Listen, on my Facebook group, there are about almost 60,000 of us. Okay. And that's one of the posts that I have to delete the most because people are like, listen, I've been doing this thing for a week and I'm horny as hell. What do I do? And it just goes with the process.
Wait a minute.
It just goes. It's a part of the...
Let me make sure I understand now. If I go vegan, my libido's going to pick up?
Oh, heck yeah. Because you're not putting in foreign products. Mm-hmm. You're not putting foreign things in your body. And so your body is responding naturally. We're supposed to have a high libido. And you have like vegans who can go literally all day. Like it's not.
Wait a minute. Wait. Well, let me get some clarity here. Let me get some clarity. You saying that once we go vegan, we can go all day?
I had a low sex drive to the point where I didn't really even desire sex. I was sexual, but just the process. Now it's like I can go, and it's like, but you got to think when you eat electric foods. You become electrified, and so your body begins to crave, and it has so much energy that it has to kind of like let it go, but it doesn't let it go the same way. Because you know how sometimes you can tap out because you already ate that meat that has all the hormones, that's already been injected with tons of prescription and depressants. Yes. And so you're like, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. Most vegans, especially when you first get into a plant-based diet, is like you're like a rabbit.
A rabbit. Wait. Ba. Say that again. Ba. I'm trying to figure out what you mean. You mean bang, 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 bang?
You have to see me because a part of it is like my hand is moving and it's like, you have a high sex drive. Wow. You don't deal with erectile dysfunction. Mm-hmm. Even women, you don't have any issues sexually. And people who have had issues previously, especially men, after being on a plant-based diet for maybe like a month or two, you will find you won't have that issue, regardless of how old you are. Because we have older men in the group and they talk about it as well, men and women. So, yeah.
Now, I saw a picture of a guy who grew his hair back by going vegan. So is there hope for a brother? Is there hope for a brother? Is there hope for a brother? Can I grow my hair back?
Yeah, there are a lot of things. Like people get sight back. People with skin disorders, they no longer have them. People with cancerous cells that are reoccurring.
I've read that.
It's a lot that's attached to it. It's not just like when you get into holistic living, right? You gain a lot more information, and you find that the earth already has things there to heal you. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it's a reoccurring, it's like a cycle we heal the earth, earth heals us. But a lot of times we don't follow that cycle. That's the cycle of the universe, right? You sow what you reap.
Yep.
And so, the earth has all of the things that we need for us to live a sustainable life,
All of it. Okay.
a life beneficial to the desires that we have, right? But we don't really tap into that. And so I challenge all the listeners, like if you really take time and just tap into it, do your research, get on YouTube, get on this social media platforms, figure it out. You will find that if you're dealing with any type of ailments, women who could not have kids, who were told by the doctors they would never be able to have kids, get under a plant-based diet, and they may have now 3 or 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
So, just know that no one can ever tell your story better than you, and there's no one who has the end. I guess they don't know the end. Only you can determine that through your efforts. So, yeah.
Got it. Now, GiGi,
veganism is life.
I'm hearing it, and I'm really intrigued. I might start as soon as I leave this mofo. Listen to me. We're just about at that 30-minute mark. I wanted to ask you this.
Yes.
I see a lot of people on Facebook asking about the group. Now, there's one young lady, Jocelyn. Jocelyn said she needs to join the group, and she's a vegetarian currently, thinking about becoming vegan. What's the name of the group?
Yes.
How can she follow you, and how can people reach you if they need to?
Indeed. The group is called Black Vegan Social, and you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. We actually have our group on Facebook, and we have a page on Facebook. So go like the page, follow us on those social media platforms. And a good thing for all of you listeners, many of you guys who don't want to make a life commitment, but you may want to try it out, for the month of August, we're doing a no-processed food. A lot of the foods that we ingest, from canned goods to other foods, even if they're vegetables or produce, they still may be processed. From the cereals that we eat, there are genetically modified ingredients in them that really are causing us more harm. So for the month of August, if you guys are interested, definitely join us. And we will be doing a no processed foods, but again, it's Black Vegan Social. And we even have a Twitter page. You can find us all on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Awesome.
Now, listen, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank
we're going to
you.
talk seriously. I think right now is the perfect time in my life for me to consider what I'm taking into my body and, make some changes with that.
Yeah.
All right.
What we consume is everything, and we have to be mindful and accountable to that consumption, not just food.
All right. Now, listen, we're looking forward to the time that we'll have you in studio with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy that movie.
Thank you for having me.
Don't enjoy it too much, though. Bang, 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 bang. All right. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, goodbye. Okay. Now, folks, listen. The number is 470-251-4647. I need you to understand something. There is a huge correlation between what we take into our bodies and our lifestyles and our health. There is no doubting it. We have to be more proactive when it comes to keeping ourselves healthy because we are all that we have. And especially for the brothers, it's okay to go to the doctor. It's okay for us to do the things that traditionally we're scared to do. Eating right is one of them. It's going to be tough, but I believe I can figure out some other things to put on that grill to maintain my grill master status.
Get some vegetables. You'll be all right.
I'll do the vegetables already right now.
Yeah.
But,
Just put some more on there. Like just double up on the vegetables.
Agreed.
Okay.
We can do it.
All right.
All right, Saya.
Yes.
Here we go. Let's talk about the art of loving. Now, you've already told us about it. First of all, I want to read some comments. Some people had some responses to something that was said. Okay, here's one right here on Instagram. And it's Mr. Here says, hell no, be right. Have yourself together emotionally, physically, and spiritually before you get with someone. It's not my job to fix you. What do you feel about that comment? I think that was more what GiGi.
Yeah, I think he was. That's definitely a response to what she said. I'm half and half on that because I agree. I think we have to take a journey you have to do some self-healing before you can even get into a relationship with someone else. Because what happens is your hurt, your pain will begin to trigger someone else who has their own hurt and pain, and now you all are just clashing, and it's just two people with pain.
Okay, hold that mic up now. Here's what I like now. First of all, Saya is incredibly intelligent, incredibly accomplished, and things like that. She brought notes up in this piece. We about to make it. It's about to be popping, and I can tell she's ready by the way she's moving her hands. You know when
I talk with my hands, and you know, black women, when we get ready, when we pull our hands up, we about to say something serious, and you gotta listen.
It's about to be on. I'm telling y'all. Okay, well said. Now let's talk about the art of loving. First of all, what inspired you to come up with this concept?
Just as an adult woman, I've had a relationship or two, or three maybe, and when the last one ended, I just decided it was time to stop. Just kind of take a pause and just do some of my own work. Kind of work with some of my own issues. My mother's a psychologist, actually.
Okay.
So she and I would have these long conversations just about, what it means to be triggered. I know that's a buzzword everybody uses.
Yep.
But I like it. It's perfect because I think it's a perfect example of what's happening. Too often you have people who come into a therapist's office with relationship issues. And what they think is happening is that they're having issues with each other. They think that that's what they're coming in here to talk about. But the reality is this woman is being triggered from her own issues by something that this man has issues with, and their issues are fighting.
Their issues are fighting. Wow.
Clashing.
Okay.
And so as I started going through my own issues, my own challenges, what I was finding is some of the issues I was having in my relationships were really just me being triggered by things that I hadn't dealt with before.
Okay.
That I was just kind of suppressing. And so, again, walking through this, and I started doing a lot of research just on, different techniques to love yourself. And I think with the Art of Loving, I want to be very clear, this is not a relationship advice book or docuseries. That's not what this is. What this is helping people, guiding people through the journey of self-discovery, of self-love, of figuring out what your issues are, what you're responding to, and how you can better respond to your partner, and even acknowledge your partner's issues. Because one of the things that I will agree with GiGi is nobody's going to come. You can do all the healing work for the next 30 years. There's always something that you're still struggling with.
Agreed.
So we're going to have some baggage going into relationships.
Agreed.
And so we have to be willing to acknowledge our partner's issues and what their triggers are and respond to them in healthy ways.
So let me ask you this question. Now, let's talk about an unhealthy occurrence in a relationship.
Okay.
You and your husband or whomever, he has an affair. Okay. So let me understand this and help me get through this. Once trust is betrayed, what can you do to get beyond that? I mean, can that person who betrayed you, can they earn your love again, or how does that work?
Okay, so here's something I say. You have people who have cheated, and you have people who are cheaters.
What's the difference? I'm curious. What's the difference?
Now, there's a difference. I think, we have to understand that, if you take anybody who's been in a relationship for 30, 40, 50 years or, any great length of time, the idea that there's a couple out there who's never had to deal with infidelity in some form or fashion is difficult. It's hard for me to believe. Like, I think that it's always going to be there in some way. The issue becomes where there are people who are habitual cheaters. Like, this is what they do, that they have, and even that is just a trigger of an internal issue, And I think when we start to look at the things that people do that we feel are negative or feel are unhealthy, if we start to look at them as this is an issue that they're dealing with and not as something they're doing to us that we're taking personally, you harbor a lot less resentment, and it's easier to let go.
Okay, let me make sure I understand.
Okay.
Man cheats on a woman. And one of the things the woman has to consider, or the woman cheats on the man, whomever's been wronged, they have to consider that that could be a symptom of something, some pain, in order to let it go. That's one thing they could do right there to help them let it go.
That's one step, is to realize that, I mean, especially for women, because sisters, we have a real, it's really easy when a man cheats to feel like, take it to your self-worth. I feel like, well, what did I do? How did this happen? You know, what did I do, or what am I not doing that made you do this? And the reality is, it has not, if someone decides to cheat, that has absolutely nothing to do with you.
I agree.
Yes. And so letting it go really starts with understanding it has nothing to do with you. I don't care how upset someone is at you or what you've done. Someone's choice to betray a commitment that they made has to do with their personal integrity and what, you know, and a choice they've made. But to answer your actual question, is there a way for someone to gain trust back? I think that the first part of that is this someone who's made a mistake, they're truly remorseful for having made that mistake, and they're committed to not making that mistake again. And if the person who's been betrayed is open enough to work through what it takes to gain trust, then yes. If this is someone who's just a repeat offender, then, well, let's not spend a whole lot of time on that.
Good deal. Okay. I want to kind of pivot just a little bit.
Okay.
Derek Jackson. Derek Jackson is a YouTube sensation, blogger, whatever. You know, he's famous for coming up with these scenarios. Now, he has this thing that he was talking about, a woman with an attitude. Now,
Okay.
I want to play this video and get your feedback on what he says.
Okay.
Now, the biggest thing about it is he's talking to, rarely he does this, but he's talking to a man, to the man's perspective. So we'll play this video. We'll come back and talk about it because I'd love to get your feedback on it.
Okay.
This is Derek Jackson. Roll clip.
Happening. So lately I've been seeing some tweets floating around from girls saying things like, it turns me on when a man can handle my attitude and puts me back in my place and won't let me run all over him. But you know what that reminds me of? Like when we see these dudes out here looking for a mommy figure to finish raising them and to baby them. Like to me, when a girl says some shit like that, that's the female equivalent. Like if that's you, you're not looking for a man to love on you and build with you. You're looking for a man to discipline you. And that was your daddy's job. Ain't no way in hell you should feel good about a man putting you back in your place. It should make you ashamed that it even got that far. Yeah, we all imperfect. We all make mistakes and shit like that. But the absolute most that your man should have to do is to let you know that you tripping and that you out of pocket. From there, you should correct your damn self out of respect for him and respect for the relationship. Like, what you mean I need a man that ain't gonna let me run all over him? That sounds like somebody saying I need somebody that ain't gonna let me steal from them. The fuck was you trying to steal for in the first place? You shouldn't be trying to run over your man, even if you can. If he's not enough man for you, why are you dealing with him? He shouldn't have to protect himself from you just to be with you. And the thing that kills me is that a lot of women get in my inbox, in my comment section, in my DM saying, D, you know, you tell us to stay away from the fuck boys and the ain't shit dudes and to get us a real man because there are good men out here. But where are the real men? Where are the good men at? Quiet has kept a lot of good men with girls like this. Why? I don't know. Matter of fact, fellas, if you one of these dudes with your shit together, not just, you know, in a financial sense, but mentally as well, like you can acknowledge at some point you was a little boy doing childish shit, but you've grown out of that. Guess what? Your relationship taste has to grow out of that too. You shouldn't be dealing with no childish ass girl that needs you to put her in her place. Get you a real ass woman that knows her place is by your side, helping both of y'all improve yourself in your place in this world. Get you a woman that's not going to test your manhood, but remind you of your manhood and all the ways that you killing shit because she trying to build you up.
Mentally, spiritually, physically, you know, we are suffering from systematic racism that continues to separate us. in any way possible. And so I just feel like the only way to really heal our communities is to get back is through the Black family and the
Agreed.
reunification, of our families. And so when I see videos, and to me, that's the only relevant conversation. And if we're talking about love and we're talking about, relationship issues, if we're talking about them from a perspective of women do this and men do that, and everybody needs to, check themselves or check someone else, which I think some of these videos are meant for that kind of fanfare, then we're missing the point. I want to address that issue. If I was going to, I would address it from a perspective of, if there's a woman who's saying, hey, I need somebody strong enough to check my attitude. Well, the first thing I would say is, hey, sister, if this is what you're saying, then let's address where that came from. Like, let's figure out where you got, where you think that attitude is coming from, and how can we fix that? And then how can we teach you how to display your emotions in a more healthy way? But I don't think that we should go on the attack of her for saying it, or for the men who choose to date those women. I think we need to just figure out, well, what's the issue, and how do we address the issue, and not attack each other, because we got enough outside forces attacking us.
Well said. Well said. Okay, now, I think what you articulated is spot on. The only thing that we need to focus on is healing our families. We can't deal with the men individually and the women individually. Now, I'll do close your mouth and listen in in a second, because I do believe that we have to talk to our men and talk to our women.
Absolutely.
To your point, though, without healing the family, doesn't matter. Our men can't progress without our women can't progress without our men. It's the family, and that rebuilds the community. We rebuild our community, it's going to be something serious going on in this country. All right, now I got a quick question for you.
Okay.
Who loves more? Who loves harder, men or women?
Oh, I don't think anyone loves harder. I think we love differently. Here we go. We do. We just love differently. And
Okay, explain.
And we do it differently.
Explain. Okay, I'll take this.
I think, men don't love as quickly. I think men tend to be a little bit more cautious. But once most men do fall in love, it's very difficult for them to get over it. They love hard and they love long.
Okay.
And for women, I think that we are taught that, we are taught that these things happen from childhood. So I just think we bounce back a little bit faster than you all.
Okay,
just
now,
traditionally.
now look, y'all, I want y'all to see me on this. I do not disagree with that right there. I know some men that are just absolute wrecks because they found out that his woman, the woman he loved for life, had an affair. He could not get beyond it. I mean, when I say that dude is still struggling with it 5 years later. So I absolutely agree with you. Now, I don't know what it is about women and bouncing back, but when y'all bounce back, boy, y'all be bouncing like hell.
Just saying.
All right. I'm not trying to ridicule you, brother, just in case you're watching. I'm just saying she has a hell of a point. Okay, so we love differently.
Yes.
But not necessarily as hard or less hard, just differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also got to keep in mind it's all individual. I mean, we all have such individualized experiences. You're just not going to have, very rarely will you have two couples that come in with the exact same issue. Even if they have the exact same issue, there's some nuance to it that's different because we all have different backgrounds. And so whether I love harder or you love harder is going to be a huge reflection of how we grew up.
Well said. Well said. Okay, how about this? I'm with my woman, and I'm trying to figure out how I can cultivate the right type of environment for our love to blossom. Give me 3 good tips.
3 good tips. The easiest is honesty. I think we have to be honest. You have to be honest about who you are, about where you are in your life, and what you want, what you're looking for.
Okay.
Too often, and I think that honesty and that vulnerability, first of all, is most attractive. I mean, I think men would really be surprised if they were completely honest with a woman and really lay room for her response. Like, women find honesty and vulnerability extremely attractive. And
what's so attractive about it?
Everybody wants to be loved. And everybody wants to be loved for who they are. And the second you're honest about who you are indirectly give that other person permission to be honest about who they are.
Okay.
And so this, you know, if you're being real and that person gets to be real, it just creates a much more harmonious environment. It's like having this bag on your shoulder. We walk around with these masks. We walk around with these secrets we try to keep because we don't want the person we like to find out, because then we think they're not gonna like us.
Okay, got it.
So imagine, and that's a bag. It's like carrying a big shoulder bag full of books. So imagine the relief when you drop that bag and you don't have to carry it any longer. So when you get to be honest in yourself, you can drop that bag, and then that person gets to drop their bag too. And now y'all a lot happier because you're not carrying all this weight.
Okay. All right, so honesty and vulnerability.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 2. Can you give me one more?
One more. Yeah, and, you know, pick people that fit you. I think that's a big one.
Should I ring the bell on this one?
Go ahead. That's a big one.
Pick people that fit you.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that look like?
So I've met so many couples that I feel, when I look at them, I'm like, I'm trying to understand how they got together. And then as you kind of go through it, you see, you know, he may feel like she's, you know, she looks a certain way, or she fits a type, or a woman may pick a man because he fits a particular type that she thinks she's attracted to. But in reality, their personalities don't fit. You know, they keying and having a great time with their best friend of the opposite sex. And it's like, if that's the person you have the most fun with, that personality type, then that's the type of person that fits you, and that's who you should be in a relationship with.
Okay.
Too many of us have these ideas of what our partner is supposed to look like and completely miss who your partner is supposed to be.
Okay. I'll take that. All right, so here we go now. I put my bag out there.
Okay, you dropped the bag.
Dropped my bag, been honest and vulnerable.
Okay.
Shot my shot.
Okay.
You know, put it all out there, and I get rejected.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. How do I handle the rejection? What tips can you give for me? Because I put it out there. I took her on a nice date. I've been honest.
Right.
Still got nothing.
Absolutely. I know, and that's hard. You know, nobody likes rejection.
Okay.
Okay, so here's one of my favorite parts of the book that I'm still writing.
It's coming though. It's gonna be.
It's almost done.
Bestseller.
There's no love in loss.
There's no loss
in love.
Okay.
There's no loss in love. And
what do you mean?
So sometimes I tell people, look, you have to decide when we have breakups and you feel like, oh, I missed this person, or you shot your shot and you got rejected. It's like, oh, I didn't, you know, they didn't like me in return. And you get this feeling of loss, like I lost something.
Right.
And we confuse that feeling of loss with love, like, oh, I love that person. Like, no, it's a similar thing. You just feel like you lost something. And what I want people to know is that there is no loss in love. If this person rejected you, or you broke up with someone who you really cared about, the reality is that means that there's someone else that you're supposed to be with. And maybe someone else that person's supposed to be with, and you're never going to get there if you wind up together. And so I think if we can accept that maybe this person rejected you because of their own issues and not take it, or something going on with them, and not take it personally, you know, because the hurt comes from you taking it personally.
Okay.
And then the second part, understanding that if this didn't work out, that means it's leaving room for something else to work out. So then you don't feel like there's something you lost.
All right. I'm going to ring the bell on that. Now I got something for you.
Okay. I'm ready.
I found this article today. This article said, this study revealed that women are happier with ugly men. I'm going to read the title again. This study revealed that women are happier with uglier men. This is from Video Chaska. All right. And July 14, 2018. Here we go. I'm going to read the first part of it.
Okay.
We've all seen a beautiful lady walking down the street holding hands with the guy who is really ugly. We do not want to offend anyone. And if you're a man, surely you've asked yourself, what does he have to do to be with such a pretty girl? Or if you're a girl, maybe you said something like, she has more, or that girl is blind, or similar things. Now, at the start of the article, it sets the story. And I have seen some couples that look to be mixed matched. So before we go deeper, do you believe this study has some validity?
much sure. It might, I'm not. I don't want to say it does or doesn't. I'm gonna just say, it could.
It could. Okay.
It could.
Okay. Now it goes on to cite some examples of pretty women with ugly men.
Knew Jay-Z and Beyonce.
How did you know Jay-Z and Beyonce was going to be there?
That's the first couple I thought of.
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
First
Case
place
in
my
point.
mind went.
Ugly man, beautiful woman. This is according to this article. Now, Bayhive, y'all can holler at me if you want to. I ain't scared. Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez. Not so bad?
He's not ugly.
He's not ugly?
No.
Okay, what about Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie?
Yeah, but they both weird. They fit each other's personality.
Okay, so they were meant to be together.
Yeah, that to me, I thought that was a better fit.
Uh-huh.
That made more sense to me than her and Brad.
Okay. Now, I don't have the name of this couple right here, but take a look. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty rough?
Yeah.
Pretty rough.
Pretty
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. Now, Facebook, y'all can't see it, but this dude, you know what, I ain't even going to go there.
And I don't call nobody ugly.
That's why I caught myself, because, God don't like ugly. Jeffrey not going to say nobody ugly either. All right, but here we go. Now, here's another part of it. It said, but the women who were next to men classified as ugly did not try hard to maintain an enviable figure according to established standards. This makes the woman happier and their partners happier. So it seems like when a woman is with a man, according to this study, who said that the man is not as attractive as the woman doesn't have to go through the stress of keeping herself up. That's what I'm paraphrasing now. Do you think that has some validity to it?
I'll say this. Okay, so I'm going to give you something that a guy friend of mine told me years ago. And he's not considered one of the most attractive men out of his own mouth. Now, I didn't say that you did, just in case he's watching.
Okay.
And one of the things he said, he was like, he not being so attractive growing up, he said, I'm used to being rejected. So because he was used to being rejected, he never worried about not taking a shot. And he used to say, see these cute dudes, they don't want their feelings hurt. He was like, so they too scared to take a shot. And so they wait for women to approach them. Now, I don't know if this is true. I'm just saying what I heard. This is the word on the street.
Okay. Word on the street.
Word on the street is that men who are less attractive have a tendency to make the first move. And here's the thing. I just said that people love honesty and women love confidence. So if you're not scared to talk to her, then you may have a shot. From the perspective of happiness, I think you could have a situation where maybe a man who's less attractive may feel, more appreciative that he has a woman who looks a certain way and may treat her differently. And if you're treated like a queen, I'm going to be happy too. That's an option.
Okay.
Maybe I could see how a woman could feel less pressure to not necessarily have to keep yourself up, but not have to live up to unrealistic standards.
Let's talk about those standards.
Okay.
All right. Now, in reading this article, what I took away from it was confidence makes a big difference.
Huge.
And I completely agree with you.
Huge.
When men, whether they're attractive or less than attractive, when they express confidence, that takes them further than anything else. Because if they are confident enough, and I don't mean confident just in the moment, confident in spit and game, but I mean genuinely confident in your masculinity and your manhood and who you are as an individual, yeah, that draws women to you.
Absolutely.
Okay, that said, when a man makes up his mind and he really goes after something and he has the right level of balance and determination, not stalking, now don't get it twisted, not doing something that a woman can interpret as crazy or stalkerish, usually he gets at least a fair shot.
I think that's
Usually.
true. I think that's true.
Good deal. So, man, what I'm saying to you is you got nothing to lose. All she can say is no. All she can say is no.
And then don't take it personally if she does. It's not about you.
All right, so Shanita says, let's address the attitude and the triggers. Okay, so let's say I'm in a relationship and I understand what my woman's triggers are. How could I help her recognize her triggers?
Well, I told you, my mother's a psychologist. I myself, live by the idea that, everybody should go to therapy at least, a couple times in your life, not at least once in your life. Everybody needs, 2 to 3 sessions at the very minimum. And so if you acknowledge that your partner has a trigger, the first thing I think you have to do, which is a reflection of loving that person in a healthy way, is say, hey, I understand that this is your trigger, so I'm going to make every effort not to trigger you, first and foremost.
Okay, good deal.
And second, having honest conversations about it, saying, hey, you know, when I do this, and you have to be able to, and this is the part that I feel takes skill. You have to find ways to have these conversations without attacking your partner and without making that person feel as though you're judging them or you're saying you're wrong or I'm right, but to simply say, hey, I love you enough I love you enough to see that this is some pain that's still in you. How can I support you? How can I help you work through that? And I always say, offer the opportunity to say, hey, how about we try therapy?
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Now, Shantae says, honesty in a relationship is everything. You want to know you can trust your partner. I completely agree with that.
Yep.
Shanita also says we all express and receive love differently. Yep. But Shanita also comes back and says, Billy Bob is not ugly. He's mysterious. She had the laughing emoji on it. Okay. All right. Now, how about this? Dee says, ugly men don't have a choice but to treat a pretty woman good. Oh, my goodness, Dee. Some women are tired of the games and just want a man to treat them right, so they might date a man not so attractive.
Absolutely. I think that's true. And it goes back also to my other point where I said pick someone who fits you.
Okay.
And sometimes, somebody may be attractive. You may find them attractive for whatever reason, but they don't necessarily fit you. The person that fits you may not look how what you used to. He may have a beer belly. He may be 5'7", but personality-wise, see him? See what I got to deal with? But he may have the personality that fits you, which is ultimately going to make you happier.
Now, Saya, I love it. I believe you are on to something.
Okay.
Now, I know you got some friends who refuse to go below 5'8".
I do.
And you got some friends
I know a few.
that refuses to date a light skinned or dark skinned guy, or something she just it's on her list.
It's not gonna happen.
Okay, so let's talk reality.
Okay.
How does the man who has the right level of confidence, who actually fits this woman, how does he get over the hump with that woman that just refuses to date a guy who's 5'8"?
I don't know that that's his hurdle to jump. It's hers. Like I think that there are certain things that we work out together.
Okay.
And there's certain things that you got to work out on your own.
Okay.
And I think I can't remember who said it, but one of my favorite quotes is the goal is not to look for love, but to look for all the barriers you've built up against it.
Okay.
And that if you can break down all the barriers you've built up against love, then you'll just find it because it's all around you. And so I think that's, if a woman is saying, I'm not going to date somebody who's 5'8", well, that's a barrier you've built up against the opportunity, because you're limiting now your opportunities for happiness and for love.
Absolutely.
So she needs to break that down so that she can then be open to someone who would love her the way she wants to be loved.
What are some other barriers, though, that are preventing men and women from finding that love?
The biggest one is fear. I think I'm spending a lot of time talking about fear. We're all so afraid of being hurt that we're not allowing ourselves to truly experience love in a full, not just in a healthy way, but in a full way. And I'll give you a really small example.
Okay.
It's my favorite because it's simple and everybody has done this.
Okay.
So you meet somebody, you like them, and they give you this wonderful compliment. Or for women, maybe a brother like, oh, wow, you look amazing tonight. Look you in the eyes. And a woman may immediately look away and be like, well, whatever, you're just kicking game. That's a defense mechanism.
Okay.
And here's the thing, she feels good about it. It makes you feel happy, but you don't want to feel the joy of it fully because of the fear that maybe he's just saying something or maybe he doesn't mean it. And so instead of allowing yourself to feel the joy and receive the compliment, you cut yourself off. And so it's just from a fear. And men do it too. Men do it in their own way.
What do we do?
A woman will just say a man who may not consider himself attractive.
Okay.
A beautiful woman may approach him and say, hey, she may approach him for whatever reason. She might be interested.
Wait a minute. Women approach men?
Stop it.
What?
Yes. This is Atlanta.
What?
I know women approach men.
Women approach men?
Yes. So let's say a beautiful woman approaches a man, and
Okay.
he may feel she's out of his league, and so because he feels that way, he may immediately begin to question her motives or her intentions. And the reality is, he has built up a barrier that is blocking him from being able to receive just even the compliment that she's wanted to be, that she's interested in him.
Excellent point. Counterpoint.
Okay, come on.
Pretty women ain't approaching no
That
men.
is not true.
This doesn't happen. The women, listen.
That's not true.
Here's the thing. Okay, women that I've spoken to,
Okay.
who are very attractive, who believe that men and women are equal in different ways,
Okay.
who are successful, everything you could want in a woman.
Okay.
I ain't approaching no man. I ain't approaching no man. He gonna have to approach me.
Well, okay. So let's say, okay. So yes, I think that is the norm.
Okay.
I think that's the social norm. That's what that's the society we live in. That's that's normal. And I myself probably am not going to just go out and approach a guy. But there are times where women do approach men. I have a good girlfriend. If she sees someone that she's interested in, she has no hesitance. There's no reservation on going to approach him.
Okay.
So it happens.
What's your hesitancy?
I'm just can be a little shy in reality. That's all.
Are you really shy?
That's my barrier. I told you we all got baggage. I'm included. I started this whole project working on my own issues. So I'm gonna be clear about that.
Good deal.
And so yeah, one of my barriers is that I need to work on is I'm a little shy.
No worries. No worries. All right, here we go.
Take that.
All right, so listen. I do this thing called Well Said.
Okay.
And Well Said is when I find a clip of someone saying something that's profound, it's motivational, it's spiritual, it's just plain good common sense conversation. Okay. So this week, I was scanning this social media space, and I ran across this thing on Rant Nation TV. And this brother comes on. I call him brother. He's a white man, but he's brother. This is Graham Allen. He's going to come on and he's going to talk.
His videos.
Yeah, he's going to come on and talk about basically judging a book by its cover. Now, we'll play this. We'll play some of it. We'll come back, and then we'll discuss it. Let's go ahead and roll clip. Don't judge a book by its cover. This is Graham Allen on Rant Nation.
You saw the post I made the other day about what this Christian woman said to me. It's not unknown. I have tattoos. I have a lot of them, actually, and you would have to be pretty blind to miss it. And I don't normally let comments bother me, and it's not so much that this comment did, but it just got me thinking about what this woman said. She says, Graham, I really want to like you and your message, but your tattoos make you look trashy and take away from your message, and as a Christian, I just can't stand to look at you. Wow. Wow. Talk about judging somebody by their cover and not by what's inside of them. First of all, I preface this video by saying I am a Christian. Am I a perfect Christian? Absolutely not. Am I the de facto Christian to try to be? Absolutely not. However, the faith and the God that I believe in is focused around a bit more love and understanding than that. Heads up, Christians. This one's probably gonna sting, but it's something that we need to hear. I love Jesus. But Christianity and religion, I absolutely hate. And the reason why is because those are man-run systems and organizations. And in case you missed the memo, in 2018, people kind of suck. In fact, the sad part about it all is, if you want to know where you can find the most self-centered, judgmental people in the world, they go to this place called church once a week on Sunday. And before you get offended and you say, oh my goodness, Graham, not my church and not me, blah, 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 blah. If you're sitting here watching this video as a Christian and you don't understand what I'm talking about at all, then I'm probably talking about you. You see, Christians fall into this cycle to where they think subconsciously that because they're a Christian.
I'm not judging anybody on your religious preferences, the church you go to, the way you behave in church, or the way your church behaves. That's not what I'm talking about. And that's not what Graham's talking about. He's basically calling you out.
Right.
Okay, so I'd like to get your feedback, first of all, Saya, on the video.
I thought it was well said. I mean, Perfect segment. It was very well said. Too often we make judgment calls based on, race, religion, height, how someone's dressed, or even if someone is frowning, someone doesn't look like they, are smiling at you, then we's like, oh, they must have an attitude. Maybe they got something going on in their life or in their head. So we have to get away from judging, and especially when we're talking about, religious people who are supposed to be spiritual.
Okay, now, Jeff Sessions stood up and quoted the Bible to justify what was going on the border. The Bible, obeying the laws of the land. I'm paraphrasing the scripture he read. And that's all he read about the Bible, completely ignoring the Bible, the same Bible that has a scripture about how you treat immigrants, foreigners in your land. You treat them like they are from your land. I'm paraphrasing again, but you go ahead and pick up your Bible and you read it.
Right.
I just need everybody to understand something. Right now, this country is as mean as ever, just mean for no reason. These were, in many instances, people coming to the border seeking asylum who were being treated like criminals. There is a bill right now that's going to take crossing the border from a misdemeanor to a felony, just so they can prosecute people. They're also looking at changing the status for what's acceptable for asylum seekers. They're making it more difficult, in other words. I haven't, in my lifetime, I haven't been living that long, I'm 22. So here we go. I caught that. So here we go. What's actually happening here is they are actually making it harder for people to come to this country, for people that has darker shaded skin. I'm going to call it what it is. I'm going to call it exactly what it is. They're not making it more difficult for people from Sweden.
No, of course not.
I mean, let's just keep it real. So there's going to be consequences for these things coming up soon. I'm not telling you who to vote for, not going down that road. I'm just saying some elections are coming up. Vote your conscience. All right. Now, let's get back to this relationship thing.
Okay.
All right. Now, if I'm in a relationship and I want to take my relationship from where it is right now to the next level, and it's time to have that conversation, what should I do when letting this woman know that I feel this way and I want to go to the next level with you? What are some of the basic things that I got to cover?
I don't know that there is a cookie cutter answer for that or even a standard playbook. It's really just about knowing your partner. The whole concept of the art of loving says that is the premise is that loving is an art form. It takes patience, it takes practice. Many of us don't have the tools, but the goal is to learn your partner, know your partner, care enough about who they are to know how to have that conversation, to know what matters to them. So if you know your partner, then because you've invested in knowing who they are, who she is, then you know, hey, these are the things that are important to her, so let me cover the things that are important to her so that she knows that I'm here and that I'm committed and that I'm invested.
Okay, good deal. All right, now, how do I handle that woman or that partner, whether it's man or woman? How does a partner handle their partner being a bit insecure in the relationship? I mean, bordering jealousy.
It happens.
Okay. How should, if I'm the person experiencing the jealousy, what can I do to help my mate feel better? Yes.
Yeah. First thing is acknowledge, I always go back to not taking it personally. Too often what we do is our partner has become a little jealous, maybe a little territorial.
Territorial, there's that word.
A little territorial, a
I'm
little
going to ring
insecure.
the bell. I'm going to ring the bell on territorial.
A little territorial. And we get upset. And so because they're doing something that we feel is negative, where they're showing their insecurities, we respond in a negative way. And so if you love this person, you want to continue to be with them, the first thing is to acknowledge, like, okay, this is obviously an insecurity. There's something that's triggering this insecurity. And I love this person enough not to respond negatively to the negative behavior. And so having that conversation with your partner, like, hey, I'm seeing that this is an issue for you. let's talk about it. Like, what's making you feel this way? And then actually listen to your partner, because sometimes people are becoming insecure about things that, and I'll say this for men. I usually don't do male, female, separation, but this one tends to be very male, female. Men have a tendency to do small things that they don't acknowledge. That they don't see, because it might not mean that much, might not be a big deal. And it can be a trigger for a woman.
Small things like what?
Let's say, if you usually are home at 6 o'clock and now for a week you come home at 10.
Wait. 4 hours different?
It's 4 hour difference.
Every day for a week?
Let's say every day for a week. Now,
that's not small?
No, that's not small. I'm just using it as an example that, as sometimes your partner is doing something that triggers you, and it might not be a big deal. He might have been planning a surprise party for you. Okay. And so being open and honest and being able to say, hey, I see that you're feeling something different. I see that you're, maybe feeling a little insecure. Let's talk about it. What's making you feel this way? What am I doing that's making you feel this way? Or what's going on in your head when this is happening, and how can I support you through it?
Okay. Now I'm gonna bite.
Go ahead. I know it was coming.
Okay, so I go and do these things. I go and make sure that I'm trying to be emotionally available. I'm accountable. Okay. If I'm running behind, I call. I do all those things. And I feel like I've earned some relationship credit.
Yes, you got some capital.
Right. Okay, so if I come home and I want to cash some of that credit, or on the way home I want to cash in some of that credit,
okay,
why is it that sometimes some women respond with, well, why are you going there? Or you don't want to come home? Or I want to go hang out with the guys. Okay, go hang out with the guys. Now she come out in lingerie trying to keep me home or something like that. Why can a brother just live a little bit?
Just a little. But here's the thing, that goes back to again, one, picking people who are good for you. Okay. Understanding what your personal, emotional needs are, and freedom needs are.
Freedom needs.
Because I know me, I need a certain amount of room to breathe, and so I generally would not date someone who would not allow me that room to breathe.
Understood.
I don't care how cute he is. It's not gonna work.
I do not disagree with that. There's a point where we need some space.
Yeah, absolutely. But also I said going back to doing the work. And so as you begin to go through the journey of learning about yourself and learning your issues and working through them, because even someone who is controlling or manipulative or just super clingy or super insecure, all of those are issues. And as you begin to work through those issues and be committed to working through those issues, a lot of that stuff goes away. And those are the things that people have to work on before they get into a relationship. Agreed. So I don't think that that's something that you can really work on with a partner. Like, you got to deal with that first.
Agreed. Okay. You're also a writer in other ways.
I
am. What other writing do you do?
Well, I started as a poet.
As a poet?
Yes, as a performance poet.
Word?
See, he knew that already. I did poetry, I wrote prose, I was writing short stories for a while. And even my journey into writing, I began to do social commentaries as I, got older and became much more interested in politics and what was happening within my community.
Right.
And so even in writing this book is, talking about different issues. It's addressing, and the docuseries is going to be, couples talking about real issues, and the book is going to address how to address those issues.
Okay.
But I'm also talking about my story. So there's still a lot of, story-based lines and chapters. So I'm definitely a creative writer.
Creative writer.
Yes.
Okay. Can you bless the mic?
No.
What do you mean no?
I didn't come prepared for that.
I understand. I'm going to read something that I wrote.
Okay.
This is Jeffrey L. Miller original. Here we go. It's called Love Concert. Love never makes the same sound twice. It's often an abstract staccato, unable to be written and replayed in any other setting. Messy and ungroomed, a misguided sort looking for a mold not to fit into. Okay, I didn't write that now. That's one of yours.
Where did you find that?
Hey, I did my research. Now, it continues. It says, yet we still tend to try and make it make sense. The notes can be dense, high-pitched, and sharp, breaking hearts like glasses. Shattered pieces fall to the floor or get dumped off the pedestals like ashes. Man, look, I need y'all to understand the metaphors, you got down with it.
Yeah, but if you read it, you gotta read.
I was
it with
about
the
to
flow.
start, but I had to
You
catch
gotta get
myself
it, you gotta
because
get
it's
in the
yours.
rhythm of it, you know.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh no! I'm gonna let you do it. It's great
See,
to have
look at
somebody
here.
else do
Look
it.
at here. See. Okay, but the good thing I like about this though, it very in an incredible way, it breaks down how love is really about improvisation.
Absolutely.
It looks different for everybody. Each song is completely different, and there's no shame in that. What happens is we start to look at people on Facebook and Instagram and the way their love looks. You got to know they're only showing you the good parts. And the people, this is just Jeffrey, the people who put the bad parts on Facebook, I wouldn't recommend you do that. But the people who do that, they're doing it for reaction. They're trying to shame this person, or they're trying to get this person to give them the attention they want.
Right.
One or the other. That's just me now.
No, I think that's true. But and also understanding, and that's really what this poem was about. Love's Concert is just about understanding, understanding that it's special. Like everything is your relationship. It should be unique just to you and your partner. And what's good for your relationship may not be good for someone else's relationship, or vice versa. And that we have to get away from social norms that say we have to do it like this. No, do it in a way that fits who you are and that fits your partner.
Agreed. Now, Love Concert was one of the poems, or it's poetry.
Yes.
That Saya put on her page. I'll tell you this now. First of all, it's an incredible piece.
Thank you.
I was trying to find a video of you, blessing the mic, but I think you took them all down.
I got rid of all of them.
Almighty. Killing me.
That's why I'm like, where did you find it?
Killing me. Let's look at Facebook and see if we got some more questions from our viewers. All right, here we go. Yeah, Billy Bob, we talked about that one. Okay, Storm says, the person may have a beautiful spirit, an awesome person inside. She's talking about men that are not necessarily as attractive, having women who are more attractive. Storm said, we all need me time and time with friends. I completely agree with that. Yeah. Everybody understands something. When men and women, or whatever type of couple, get together, the main thing that I believe that we have to keep in mind is respecting that person's emotions and their feelings. Yeah. Try your best not to do something that you know would hurt their feelings. I mean, hurt their feelings or trigger them. Because if you know it and you do it, you're being mean and spiteful. Now, I will own my own issue from some past relationships. Okay. It's like, hey, I don't know why you're pushing my buttons, but I'm not going to let you push mine. I'm pushing yours. And I'm going to win the argument because I'm pushing your buttons better than you pushing mine. That's something I worked on, because that's not how you cultivate a healthy relationship with anybody, man or woman.
Absolutely not.
So, anybody ask you to co-sign?
I'm the co-host for the day.
Look at you. You're killing me. All right. So let me ask you this question right here. Personally, as much as you care to share.
Okay.
What's been the thing that you've had to work on the most in your own journey with your own art of love?
Being transparent, and I think one of the reasons why I talk about honesty so much in my writing is because that was the thing that I had to address first. I was always one of those people who would just agree to things that maybe I didn't want to do, or I wasn't that interested. In a lot of different ways, like I wouldn't be honest about my true feelings. It's very difficult to be transparent and to be vulnerable. Or, there were things about, my life where I would be, I was very cagey in ways, and the narrative, because we all write our own stories. We all decide, write the story of how things ended or why. And the story that I was continuing to write was, someone that doesn't love me for me. And as I started to kind of go through this journey, what I found is, well, are you really being you? And if you're not being honest about what you like, what you don't like, who you are, where you are, what you want, what you need, then how can somebody, love what they don't see?
Okay.
And so I struggled with that. I worked through it.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Now, the person who might be considering professional counseling, what advice would you give them to get them over the hump? Because I'll tell you this, being transparent. I've gone through counseling. It makes a big, big, big difference. Now, you might go in with your arms folded and thinking, this ain't going to be for me. This is for white people, or whatever you're thinking. When you get to that moment, where it actually pulls out your issue and you have that breakthrough afterwards, you are completely different. Your steps are much lighter. Your relationships are better because you're not, as you put, you're not carrying that bag.
Yep, not carrying that weight.
Okay, so what advice would you give to someone who's considering it?
First things first, find someone you trust. And, you know, I think, you know, people always want to say, oh, I know this person. Make sure the person that you find is someone far enough removed from your social circle or family so that you feel comfortable to talk to them. And yes, all therapists have, you know, confidentiality, that's the word I was looking for. You know, of course, all therapists have that, but I think people still naturally kind of feel like, well, you know this person, or you know that person, you might repeat it. So find somebody who doesn't know anybody you know, first and foremost, so you feel a little bit more confident about being honest. And find someone you think can relate to your issues, because some of the scary parts I think about going through therapy is that nobody wants to feel judged. You know, nobody wants to tell their whole story. Like you want to tell pieces of it, because you don't want someone to look at you differently, or you don't want to feel judged. And I think that's a part of the hump people have to get over when thinking about going to counseling. Is like, well, do I want to tell this person all my dirty laundry? And so, you know, if you are a woman and you feel more comfortable talking to a woman, find a female therapist. If you're a man, you feel more confident talking to a man, find a male therapist. And just, you know, and I would say even do a consultation or have one session to see how you feel, because you have to find a therapist that the energy works for you before you like fully commit.
So almost some of the same methodology that you use when you're figuring out who to date and who not to date.
Absolutely. Because you have entered a relationship with a therapist. If you decide that you are going to really walk through this journey with a therapist over a long period of time, you know, you want to make sure it's the right person.
Okay. I'm digging it. Okay, we're going to pivot a little bit.
Okay.
I have this other segment that I do. Every now and then I find somebody doing something or saying something outrageous. And when I find them, I put this under a segment that I call Sit Your Ass Down.
I love it.
So in scouring social media, I found this video. We're going to play this video. And it gets to the fact that we can't own nothing. It's like everything we got, they got to come and get some of it.
Appropriation.
They might not like it in the beginning. They'll swear up and down they can't stand it. But next thing you know, they blink, you blink, and there they go.
Absolutely.
Rapping, playing rock and roll, playing square dancing, all this stuff that we created. So I want to play this video. We'll come back. This is called White People Ruin Everything. Let's play the clip. Here we go.
It's your DM, you just gotta hate them funk. I quit your BM, this is the city's funk. If I quit this season, I'll be still the greatest funk. My left stroke just went viral. Salute, you can with me if you wanted to. These expensive things are red, bottom these dirty shoes. Hit the store, I can get them, but I don't wanna choose. And I'm quick, cut a person off, and I'm comfortable. This is America, don't get you slipping up. Don't get you slipping up. Look what I'm whipping up. This is America, don't get you slipping up. Don't get you slipping up. Look what I'm whipping up. This may be the night that my dreams won't let me know. All the stars approach you. All the stars approach you. All the stars approach. This might not be the mountain will let me know. All the stars are closer. All the stars are closer. All the stars are. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? La cucaracha, yo no puedo caminar, porque no tengo, porque falta las dos vaquitas atrás. I made 100,000, I freaked it. I made about 100,000, I freaked it. I bought an 87 for the weekend, the weekend, the weekend. A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side, a little bit of Rita's all I need, a little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of
definitely should sit her ass down.
Somebody help me. I'll tell you one thing. When some people start talking, sometimes they develop diarrhea at the mouth. Sometimes people just happen to put a big old shoe in their mouth. But every now and then, just like the old folks used to say back in the day, you got to tell somebody you need to sit your ass down, white people, with that foolishness. Can we have anything to ourselves? I think y'all want to say the N word just because y'all can't. That's the only reason. Because y'all ain't forced to say it. So now, because you ain't forced to say it, you got to be able to say it. Because we can say it, y'all want to say it.
Forced to say it.
Yeah, forced to. That's
Okay,
F-O-S-E-D. Forced.
Okay, that's it. I didn't know how to spell that.
Oh, you know, you
Got
heard
it.
somebody say foes, especially being here in Atlanta for more than 3 days. Somebody said foes.
Just want to make sure I spelled it correctly.
You did.
Okay.
All right, but white folks, I need y'all to sit y'all asses down with that foolishness. Let us have something to ourselves for once. Goodness gracious, killing me. All right, so look, what's the most difficult thing when it comes to dating? Not necessarily for you, but for, and talking to your friends.
Okay.
What do they express to be the most difficult things about dating in Atlanta?
Oh, that's how much time we got.
We got 30 minutes.
So it's different. Everybody has a different issue. I've heard some women say dating Atlanta is really tricky because it's such a party town. And it's such a party town. There's always stuff to do. And there's this narrative that the ratio between men and women is so high, which I don't know that that's really true anymore. It's not that high. Yeah, it's not as large of a gap as we like to believe. And especially with, so many people moving here. I'm sure that gap gets smaller, by the month. But I think there's this idea that men have so many options that they don't know how to treat a woman or, don't know how to be respectful or know how to be faithful. And so I think I didn't say it.
Okay.
Just word on the street.
Word on the street.
Word on the street.
Okay.
And so
that sounds like a segment. Word on the street.
Oh, I can do word on the street.
Okay.
But no, I've heard women say that it's a struggle dating in Atlanta because men have so many options, or because it's such a party town that it's harder to find men that want to settle. But I've also heard men say, which is really interesting because I keep hearing men say this, so many at this point, that there's a large quantity of women in Atlanta, but it's a smaller pool for quality. So these are the two things that I'm hearing as I'm, listening to, people talk about their struggles with dating in Atlanta. I don't know that I've seen that personally, but this is what I'm hearing.
Okay. I won't disagree with you.
I've met some amazing women in Atlanta, and I've met some amazing brothers in Atlanta. So I don't really see the problem.
I don't see the problem either. Except too many men don't know how to date a woman. I'm going to go over my top 5 ways to date a woman.
Okay.
And I'd like your feedback.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm ready.
5th reason, going down to 1. Men, you don't know how to date a woman, not trying to say they cheating. I can feel it. I can see where you're going with it.
I was like, is that plural?
Yeah. So men, you don't know how to date women. What you end up doing is being regular. Don't be regular. Don't even take her on dates. Take her on experiences.
Oh, okay.
You need to take her to places that teaches her culture. Atlanta is more than party. Atlanta got all types of cultural places to go to.
Absolutely.
After speaking to her for at least a good 2 solid weeks, you should be able to know where you should take her. Not to eat now. Take her around Atlanta to experience something that she would find interesting. Show her experiences, not dates. That's number 5. What do you think?
I think the most important thing you said in that is know what she's interested in.
Absolutely.
So I agree with that. I think that whether you call it dates or experiences, the semantics is not as important as just saying, hey, I'm getting to know you. I want to know what's interesting to you. What do you like? And then, making sure that you're, being creative and that you're, taking her places that interest her. Okay. And that she likes. I mean, that's, I think that's probably one of the most attractive things a man can do is ask the right questions.
Good deal. Number 4. Fellas, don't take her any places that you can't take her while you're in a relationship. Okay, you're good. You broke it. But what I mean, fellas, don't take her to the sundial, just as an example, every weekend if you can't afford it while you're in a relationship with her. Because she's not going to let you go backwards. She's not going to go, oh, you should take me to the sundial while we were dating. Now we're in a relationship. You want to go to KFC every weekend. She is not going to take it.
That is not true.
It's not true?
Well, first part is, I'll say this. I do think that, which goes back to the whole concept of being honest and, you know, allowing yourself to be who you are. And if you're not in a financial position to take a woman to an expensive restaurant every weekend, then definitely don't do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so no, I agree with that. But I don't all the way agree that, you know, when you start dating someone, you may go to nice restaurants and do a lot of things. And as you get into a relationship, you might not go to restaurants as much. And you might cook in, or you might, you know, stop at a drive-thru because y'all trying to, you know, get home. And that's okay.
You see this finger?
See, I know what he was going to do.
Now, this is the funny part right here. So, now suspension of disbelief.
Okay.
We start dating, and I'm treating you to all these nice restaurants. We get in a relationship, and the best I can do is $2 for $2 Tuesdays or something like that. You okay with that?
I mean, it depends on the situation.
This is refreshing.
Maybe I'm just saying, maybe you lost your job in the time that we together, or maybe it's just one of those days where we want to be low key. I don't want to dress up. I want to throw on some sweats and some gym shoes and go get some food. So
okay. Point of clarification. Not saying that those places wouldn't be acceptable. Okay. I'm saying that you no longer get to go to those places.
Oh, like at all?
At all.
Oh, let me think that one through. Let's circle back to that one. I kid.
Okay.
I kid.
I was starting to wonder a little bit now. Okay.
No, I think that I definitely think everybody should start off a relationship being really honest about who they are.
Absolutely.
And I can't stress that enough. And so if this is not something that you regularly can't afford, then you should just be willing to be that upfront. Because what happens is now she knows that this is not something that's going to happen all the time because you can't afford it. And she gets to love you for you. And then you don't have to worry about whether or not she changes her mind because you can't take her there. Well, if you told her up front, then you don't have that concern. So that kills all that noise by just being honest from the jump.
Okay, good deal. Number 3, don't ask for shit.
See, you know what?
Don't ask for a picture. Don't ask for don't ask what their mouth do. Don't ask for sex. Don't ask for none of that stuff. I can ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Don't ask for any of those things. Show her why you deserve it. You show her why you deserve it, I bet she'll give it to you. And when she gives it to you, she's going to put it on the table on a nice platter. And it's going to blow your mind. But don't ask for anything. Don't ask for anything. Number 3, what do you think?
Nah, I think that's a sit your ass down moment. Like, I'm going to be quiet. That was good. That was sit your ass down and well said all at the same time. Yep. So I'm going to sit over here and be quiet.
I love it. All right. Number 2. Be consistent. I mean, consistent. If something comes up and you can't do what you said you do, tell her and let her see that it's the exception and not the norm, the rare exception. But be consistent. If you are not consistent, no matter what you look like, no matter what you said, she is going to leave you alone.
True.
What do you think?
100.
100? I got a 100. Sit your ass down and well said.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it communication, considerate, and consistent? Those are the 3 keys.
Okay, good deal. Number 1, fellas, be confident. Be confident.
I should throw that extra C in there, confident. Okay.
Yeah, be confident. Here's what I mean by confident now. I mean Russell Wilson confident. Think about who Sierra used to date. Future. 50. All these dudes that got street cred. Now, Russell looks like a choir boy.
Yeah, but he got a big contract.
Well, now,
that might have gave him some confidence.
I don't.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying it might have gave him some confidence.
I don't disagree with that. What I will say though is that he is a professional athlete. Some of the most confident men and women on earth are professional athletes. They don't even have to make it to the pros. And they're still very confident people.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you that Russell's persona, it kind of hides how confident he is. Because for them to even start talking, there has to be some level of confidence. And for him to make the moves that he's making and the things that he's doing, he does it with a quiet confidence. He don't have to I ain't got to have the limelight. People can see you doing that stuff in the front. They can see what I'm doing to help you build this thing with me together. But I don't have to have the spotlight. This is a us thing. We're doing what we do.
Okay.
Confidence.
I like it. I think confidence is great. And I think that's for men and women. Anytime that you are confident in who you are and where you are, you can be honest about who you are. And I mean, even to say, what Russell Wilson has this choir boy image, and to even be able to do that in this society that is pushing these harder images of men.
The toxic masculinity.
I wasn't going to use that phrase, but come on with it. That toxic masculinity, to even be confident enough in yourself to be able to display the opposite.
Absolutely.
Says a lot about, just who he is.
I don't disagree with that. I think Russell a thug, though, behind closed doors. I think he probably got some ATL clothes that he throw on for Sierra, and they good deal. Let's get some comments from Facebook. Here we go. Shermanada says, and white people love what she just did. They sure do.
Yeah, they do.
Shanita says, quality versus quantity. I absolutely agree. Allison says, absolutely. Love and experience. Fellas, I'm telling y'all, dates are the thing of the past. Everybody can take her on a date. Everybody can do a movie. Take her on an experience. Watch you set yourself apart. Allison says, Jesus, take the wheel. Hell to the gnaw on KFC. All right. Sunita says, don't start what you can't finish. Agreed. All right. And Erica said, what's going on, Erica? Don't forget, August, we're going to do this thing now. Don't be getting shy on me. All right. Shanita says her top 3, truth, respect, consistency, and appreciation.
Oh, absolutely.
That's 4. You said my top 3. Oh, in my top 3. My bad, homie. I should have known better, Brown Knight. We good. You get a bell ring for that. All right. And GiGi, I appreciate that tag, GiGi. Thanks a lot. Okay. So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
From a woman's perspective, what are men doing wrong?
I don't know if it's a what are men doing wrong kind of thing. I just think that we're all so hurt. I think so many of us are damaged and we're not willing to deal with our hurt. And so we just keep reliving the same stories over and over again. You have men who continue to pick the same type of woman and then the relationship fails every time, and women do the same thing and that fails. So I think what we're doing wrong is that we're not taking the time to interrogate our preferences. And we're not taking the time to interrogate our issues and really just work through them so that we can choose better. I have a good girlfriend who, she's been married, I think, 17 years, and she always says, if you ask her what's the key, she says, choose well. And so too many of us, I think what we're all doing wrong, men and women, is that we're not choosing well.
Not choosing well. So interrogating our preferences.
You have to interrogate your preferences. Why are you attracted to this type of person? Or why do you respond to certain things or certain people or certain looks in a certain way? Like, you have to interrogate those things, figure out where they come from, and then decide if they're healthy or not.
Okay. I love it. Okay, so what's the next step in the process for the Art of Loving?
So it's a 2-part process. Like I said, it's a docuseries. We're shooting now, and we have different couples we're working with. I'm actually going to open the list up again shortly, probably in a month or 2, just to get more people who are going to be committed, so we can get them to tell their stories and actually create some groups where you have a lot of people talking, and we can work through their issues. And so when we're done with all the shooting and the editing, we'll definitely release it. The book is a process, because my goal is to let the book address some of the things that are coming up in the in the groups and in the videos.
Okay.
So as we're shooting, I'm writing. We're shooting and I'm writing. So when everything is done, my hope is to have a December release, 2019.
Okay. So as a parent, and you're a parent, I think our
am.
children are around the
I
same
am.
age. How can we as parents give that type of stability to our children so they understand the art of loving?
Well, and that's actually one of the things I want to address that we haven't talked about on the show. So the art of loving is not just about male-female relationships. It's also about the art of loving is love is so many different things. You love your parents, you love your children, you love your community. So we're going to address all of it, meaning healthy ways to love your children and how to display, how to show that to them so that they can grow up and know how to have a healthy relationship. So a lot of that's going to be addressed. You know, I always say the best example you can give your child is just to live a life that is a reflection of what you want them to grow up and do.
Okay.
And so, you know, if your children are watching you and your wife, you know, talk things out, then they believe that that's what they're supposed to do.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay. So the docuseries coming on next week on OWN?
Not quite. We're still shooting.
Okay.
And like I
Okay.
said, we're going to do, we'll probably open the list up again in about 2 months for anyone else who wants to for other people who want to participate. And so I'll definitely give all that information. I'll put it on Facebook and Instagram and give it to you to put on your Facebook and Instagram.
All right.
And come back on the show and we can lay it all out.
Okay. Good deal. All right. So how do you feel about the show?
Oh, this was a great experience. I had a ton of fun.
Ton of fun?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So if people wanted to get in contact with you and they wanted to follow you, share as much as you will for your social media contacts.
Sure. You can follow me at Saya Savvy. That's SIASAVVY on Instagram. And all of the information for the docuseries will be posted there. And actually, I'll have registration forms and everything there. So if anybody wants to participate, please, by all means, send me a DM. I'm interested in anybody who has a story that they want to tell.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Now, this was a question that I did not send to you.
Okay.
All right. Now, I was looking at some of your pictures. You do some modeling. How have you been modeling?
I don't really, though. I don't. No. I don't really. So I have just being in the artist community, I have some really great friends who are photographers. And so if they want me to participate, I just do. And so but it's not.
So you're more of a muse than a model.
Okay, I like that word. Let's go with that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if someone says, "Hey, can you take some great pictures? You down for for a shoot or they have an exhibit?" I don't mind volunteering.
Okay, all right.
But that's it.
So again, more of a muse than a model.
Yeah, I like it. Let's go with that.
All right. Sia Savvy on Instagram. Y'all look at them pictures and tell me whether or not she a model. I saw all type of model.
I'm not. I promise.
I saw Jet Magazine, Beauty of the Week type of. No, I'm just kidding. I took it back on that a long time ago. Y'all know nothing about that. Okay. So one last question for you. When it comes to your poetic side, do you plan to get back on the mic? What do you do with the poetic scene in Atlanta?
At some point, I think I do. Like I stopped writing. I hadn't sat down to write poetry in a long time. But as I started writing this book and the outline for the docuseries, I started writing poetry again recently. So my hope is to, at some point, definitely get back on the mic. And there's a really great event. I don't know if there's anybody out there from who's in the Phoenix, Arizona area. It's an event called Home Base. If you're in Phoenix, check out Home Base. It's an amazing poetry event.
There are a lot of them in Atlanta as well.
The next one is August 29th. I think I'm going to be there.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Wonderful. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. I was honored to be here.
Wonderful. All right, now we're going to do something next week. Next week, we're going to have Saya back. But she's going to be back as a guest co-host. First time on Let's Talk About It Live with Jeffrey L. Miller, we've had a co-host, an official co-host. Oh. So next week, we're going to talk about this dating app that this gentleman named Dr. Love has created. It's a dating app for the people, or for the men out there. And it's pretty doggone good. He's going to come on. Very, very unique perspective when it comes to dating. And, of course, I'll have some questions. You'll have some questions?
I'll absolutely have some questions. Believe that.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. All right, now here's my last part right here. I want everybody to understand something. We got a lot of work to do between the men and the women in our communities. It's not about blaming. What we have to be about the business of building up our children. That only happens it happens best when the man and the woman or whomever the parents are in the household are on the same page. Everything they do is about the we in the family, not the me as the husband, not the me as the wife. It's about the we as the family. And when our families start moving in concert, that builds our communities up. Building our communities up helps to support the business owners in our neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
There are a bunch of them in there. Now, I always go back to this. I have a friend who has a farm in Hampton, Georgia. And whenever it's time for me to buy my meats, I buy it from him because that's how he's raising his son. His son actually bought me my delivery, and he walked in like a confident young man. Confident. How you doing, sir? Got your meal or got your bag for you? Walked out to the car, got it, shook my hand, looked me in my eye. Husband and wife raising another husband. Yep. They're not raising a young black man, a young black boy. They are raising a husband. Yep. So that's the type of effort we have to have in our communities, making sure we're putting the house back together and not tearing it apart. Absolutely. Okay. Now I'm going to give you an opportunity to make your commentary, then we'll close the show out. Anything you want to add?
Just understanding that everybody has to do their own journey. You know, you have to take your own journey. You have to do your own work, and just know that everybody has something. And just love yourself. Love all your flaws, all your imperfections, and know that there is somebody out there who's ready to love you too.
Good deal. Good deal. Now listen, we do this every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. right here on Manifest TV. The phone number is 478-251-4647. You can find us all over social media, the Status Network, or Manifest TV. You can find me everywhere, #TalkWithJeffrey, except for Twitter. I'm Nigel's Pop 22 on Twitter. And I'm not on Snapchat. I'm still not snapping and chatting. I don't see the point of it. I ain't going to do it. I tried it for a little bit. I ain't going to do it. You're not going to find me
Not
there.
even for the Vine?
I ain't going to do it for the Vine.
I ain't going
to do it for the Vine. Not going to do it.
All right.
This has been a great show. I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to next week.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. We're going to do this thing. Now, listen. At the end of the show, I want y'all to know it's been a great one. We had GiGi on. She was a plant-based vegan expert. Make sure you follow the Black Vegan Social Network on Instagram for her information there. Black Vegan Social. It's on all social media. And make sure you follow Saya.
Absolutely.
It's been a great show. Looking forward to next week. But I am out.
That bell.
So now, you know.
Now that you know about Jeffrey and Let's Talk About It Live, come be a part of our family.
You know we had to give y'all homework, right?
Keep up with the show. Follow us on all of our social media platforms.
That's Facebook and Instagram.
Would you like to listen to the show on the go?
Make sure you download the Status Network app on your Google or Apple Play Store.
Want to talk to Jeffrey?
Dial 470-251-4647.
We thank you for listening. And make sure you're back here every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Let's Talk About It Live with Jeffrey L. Miller.
Status Network.